Rollo Tomasi, the self-proclaimed godfather of the Red Pill, finally got to sit down with Destiny and Sneako. And he brought on his buddy Michael, who I'm also familiar with. And Michael, by far, is the most sensible one out of all the Red Pillars. I've also had a discussion/debate with him on a Purple Pill pod. And so we're going to be looking at all of this and getting to the crux of the brewing civil war within the Red Pill community.
Like, do you think if a guy could do it, if a guy could be 25 at the head
This is such a great question. Listen to what Destiny says.
His career starting right there, about to go down his life,
Listen.
but also pair with a really good woman who he could have kids with.
Come on.
And then by the time he's in his 30s, he's already got like 7, 8, 9-year-old, a couple children with a good wife. Is that something you guys would push for? Or do you think that men should stay as far the fuck away from that as possible and wait till they hit those prime years of being like 35?
So the answer would be somewhere in the middle. I think it's how...
You notice what Destiny said. Destiny said, if you could start your life, build your life. This is, by the way, the IKEA marriage that Kevin Samuels advocated for, which again, man, folks hated Kevin Samuels. He created a whole void of other goobers to step into this space, which are not better. Okay, I'm just going to say that. Notice what he said. If you can build a life with someone and you can do it in a way where you're starting your career, you're having a family, you're getting married earlier in life, and you're building something together, is that better than the Red Pill ideology of get your body count up, make a bunch of money, get your muscles, get your game, get your career, and then later find some older shit? Now listen very closely to Michael's answer.
Would be somewhere in the middle. I think it's
okay, somewhere in the middle. Okay, now listen to what he says next.
How over time, because I think social media has ruined things so much. If you know the whole thing where we talk about 33% of men having zero sex partners, that hockey stick starts at the advent of the Facebook app on the iPhone in 2008. You can see it just shoot right up to where it was 12% of men or 16% of men with zero sexual partners, and it got up to 33. So the thing is, what's happened now is I would say it's statistically less viable, not unviable, but less viable for the 24-year-old to marry the 21-year-old and feel good about it, because by the time she's 31 and he's 30, or she's 31 and he's 34, 35, the dynamics of his relationship are going to change. He's going to make more money. He's going to see the world differently. Now, I'm not advocating he leave his wife, but now those pressures existed where they didn't exist before 2008.
Sure.
So the answer was basically the society and the system changed, and therefore you were statistically less likely to find a good woman in your mid-20s. The issue with that is you're also statistically more likely to be overweight today. You're also statistically more likely to be morbidly obese today. Does that mean that we check out from doing the things that don't make us statistically likely to be those things we don't want to be? Or do we just throw our hands up and go, well, social media, there's no good girls around, and the good girls in church, they're all thoughts on the low anyway, riding the cock carousel? This is the nonsense from this community, because there are good girls out there. There are people out here getting married in their early 20s. Most of them just happen to be followers of Jesus that understand that living out delayed gratification is your most direct pathway to building the type of life you want. So notice when Destiny asks a very specific question, the Red Pill response, and Michael wouldn't say he's Red Pill, is to point back to the systems and the structures. It's like when you're having a conversation with someone you disagree with on the left, that's left-leaning, and what is the response always? The patriarchy. It's the patriarchy. It's white supremacy. It's like, no, let's have a merit-based conversation about something, and instead of saying, hey, you can actually build a great life and build a great income and, accomplish the goals. Well, the patriarchy. Well, white supremacy. Well, this ism. It's like, fam, stop blaming systems on everything. And when you are on the Red Pill, then it just becomes feminism for men. It just becomes meninism, right? That's the issue. Hey, you want to see something kind of crazy? Over 75% of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed. Please consider subscribing and turning your bell notification on so that you don't miss anything we have going here.
Okay, so I would push back against this strongly. So here's something that I've noticed, okay? People ask me, so obviously I talk to a lot of women, I do my thing.
And it sucks that Destiny's the one pointing this very common sense stuff out.
If you're talking about sedation, drugs, and everything like that, exactly, because you're not looking for anything further than that. It's just a way to get some dopamine release and just have a little bit of fun. It's pretty much equivalent to playing a video game or watching. It's not anything, like maybe you'll learn a little bit about hoes, but you're not going to get anything out of it.
I would say the difference is that it is far more difficult for guys to use that as a sedation than it is to say play World of Warcraft all day long, or it's to go drink.
I don't know, man. I push back on that too. I think we all know guys. I think we all know guys.
You're in the gamer set. I got it.
Well, no. I'm saying I think for the girl set, I think we all know guys that have thrown their life away doing dumb girl shit. whether you end up knocking
But I
somebody
mean,
up, whether you get a crazy.
half the reason shows like this exist is because guys aren't getting laid. That's why. So
Yeah, but I
like,
think Sneako brings up a really good point. That when you say
I think
eliminate,
it's less of a I don't know, less significant than say some other forms of sedation. So when I'm talking about sedation in the tweet itself, people I've said this a million times, is like, if you want to actually get up and actually become something and be something better, this is like where I finally get into like something like a positivity hustle, right? It doesn't matter if you learn all this stuff, you read all my books, you do all this shit. None of it matters if you can't get your ass out of bed. If your real life is worse than your online escape life, that's what I'm talking about. That's the sedation right there. So could it be that you're a sex addict? Yeah, it can, but I would say those guys are probably far less common than the guys who are smoking weed, prescription drugs, porn.
That it's actually a worse sedation just based on the fact that you're saying get a vasectomy, because the consequences are much worse than any of the other sedations.
You're sleeping around with a lot of women.
I mean, the consequences are much worse, obviously, because you're advocating for getting a vasectomy, because you could have a kid with this girl. Right. It's way more expensive. It's a bigger time suck. You're going to be drinking. You're going to be in environments that aren't going to be uplifting you whatsoever. You're in clubs all the time. You're around women that you don't really like. You get angry because you have to deal with, like, Myron always jokes about how he's going bald doing the show all the time because these women will suck away your soul. And really, what's the outcome of it? A nut? Is that really, like, how many times did you go and fuck a girl and you're like, that was really worth the last 2 weeks of my time of texting back and forth, taking her out on dates, spending all this money, getting dressed, listening to her stupid conversation about astrology? Like, is that really something worth advocating for? How is that a better sedation than porn and video games?
I'm the wrong person to ask. I love women.
I mean, Sneako is going in and making some great points. The idea of spinning plates, the idea of messing with these bimbos. And this is someone that, Sneako's a good-looking guy. He was immersed in this stuff. If there's anybody that knows, it's going to be him.
Sneako, if there was a male form of birth control like Vasogel or something like that, and instead of saying vasectomy,
this is his goofy question.
I said, do this and take this, and it's not a permanent thing. You can always go back off of it.
No, because I think that's what we should be fighting when it comes to red pill and tradcon. It's like, it's a similar common enemy that's trying to sedate us in a way. Birth control for women, it messes up their hormones, it makes them extremely argumentative. They get weird, they get on different cycles. I don't advocate you to take these pills. I tell people all the time not to get the injection. Like, why would you go and listen to these pharmaceutical companies? Why would you let them win and go play into these games? It pretty much just to chase dopamine. Then you're becoming a rat for these big companies, for big pharma, when you could just like actually have that's the point. That's the reason that sex exists, is to have children. Then you're completely removing the purpose of it, and then you're just chasing dopamine.
Can I chime in and just add something here real quick?
So moderators. Yes, moderator.
Plan B.
What's up, moderator?
Moderators. 2 words. Plan B.
But I was talking to Adam22 recently, and he has his own thing too. I don't know if he's allowed to
Plug talk.
Yeah, he has plug talk and everything like that. I was recently talking to him because he's been posting a lot of pictures of his daughter and stuff like that, and I always like react to them like, that's dope. Like he clearly cares about being a good father. And I had this conversation with him, and he said that after being with 400 women doing all the show, like I asked him like, was it really worth it all? But he's like, there's nothing better than having kids. Yeah. And even that's coming from a guy who's clearly been a sex addict, who did all this stuff. He went on my stream and he was talking about all these crazy threesomes, and he's like, he's very public about all this stuff, and he's saying there's nothing better than having a family and having a kid. Even this guy that's like stuck with all the girls, like everybody in the chat, you watch like the top stars, he's been with them, and that does not compare to having a family. So yes, okay,
does he regret it? Does he regret it?
Yeah, because one thing could be better than something else, but it's
not
still really
regret.
fun, right?
It's not about regret. It's about advocating what's best for the young male audience and for the future generation. So is it better to advocate towards vasectomy so you can go to Dan Bilzerian parties, or better to advocate like become competent men, raise a good family, have strong children, and then your life is going to be, that's the best life.
Hey man, I would have never, ever in a million years expected 2023 to be the year where Sneako has the good guy arc, referencing as Adam22, who just got married and is enjoying being a dad. I would have never thought this in 100 years. What a freaking plot twist, huh? Wow, that was great. I'm excited. I've been talking to Sneako a little bit on Instagram. I'm hoping that we can have him on the channel. You guys go if you care. Go tell Sneako to come on the channel. Go tell Sneako to come on the channel. He was actually going to be in town this weekend, so there's a chance that we might be doing something. I was texting with Adam22. I actually sent him that clip earlier today as well, and so I think that's a massive W. I'd love to have this conversation with Sneako. Seems like there's some red pill awareness to this goofy stuff that is really refreshing. All right. Hey, this is a segment from our daily after party stream. Consider partnering with us online for as little as $5 a month to get access to these daily after party streams completely unedited. You'll also get access to our podcast as they are streamed live into the community before anyone else gets to see them, get to interact with our guests, get access to our private Discord server, and a discount code for our store for as little as $5 a month. Ultimately, that will help towards helping us continue contextualizing the gospel using media and podcast here on YouTube. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.